Hey guys, and welcome back to r/EntitledPeople. Hope you're all doing awesome today. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and let's get into it, friends. Entitled person is upset because their kid won't sleep without visiting our cats every day, and we said no. Our neighbors who live in the same house have a 3-year-old son, and we have 3 indoor cats. One day the father knocked on the door telling us his son lately grew fond of cats, and if it was possible that his son can see our cats. We let them in, but it turned out the boy still has 2 left hands when it comes to animals, and his father doesn't interfere when the kid chases them, screeches at them like a siren, pulls them on their tails, and throws hard toys at them. As you can guess, we weren't too pleased. Next day, same time in the evening, the father and kid knocked on our door, the father demanding that his son can meet the meow meows again. This time a husband opened the door, and was somewhat surprised by them requesting a visit again. Blindsided, we let them in again. Same procedure as the day before, a solid half hour of screeching and chasing the scared and startled cats. Day 3, we just sat down for dinner. The father knocks on our door, letting us know that it's his son's bedtime, and that he's ready to play with his meow meows. I kindly but clearly explained that we're just about to have dinner, and that we cannot make this a daily play date because our cats are not happy about this, as they are not used to children and one of them is blind. I told him it's too much for the animals. My husband and I are both working full-time, and our evenings, having dinner together, is our relaxed time, and we would like to spend it alone. The following 2 hours, we heard the kid screaming his head off, demanding to meet his meow meows, followed by furious knocking on our door, which we opened to our very angered neighbor, pointing at his son's blue from crying face, yelling at us that this sad face should make us think about the consequences of decisions we make for other people. His son won't sleep anymore without seeing his beloved meow meows. Yes, he seriously kept using this term, and also the possessive adjective. I tried to solve this in a civilized manner, by keeping calm but pointing out that it wasn't our idea to make seeing our cats his son's getting ready to sleep ritual, and that he cannot expect from us to make this a daily schedule. But we were marked as general child haters already. 2 days later, our landlord called us to remind us to please not let our cats out in the hallway, because, quote, the neighbor's child is allergic to cats. Am I the a-hole for not putting my shirt back on? I'm a 19-year-old female and I've been going to the gym near consistently since February this year. I've lost 18 pounds so far, and while I still have 93 pounds before I reach my goal, I've already gained so much strength and confidence in my body. I'm 5'7" and 255 pounds. I know I'm big, but I don't think it should really affect how I dress. I get sweaty at the gym, and the one thing worse than a sweaty bra is a shirt that sticks to you because of sweat. My gym also doesn't have air conditioning on a low enough temperature for me to avoid getting like this. For reference, my gym doesn't have a dress code. As a result, for most of my workouts, I've opted to just go in my bra and leggings or shorts. Today was chest and back, and I chose to wear my bra and shorts combo. No cleavage is showing, no underwear is peeking out above the shorts. It's what a lot of the other girls I've seen at the gym wear. I'm going through my workout, and by the time I get to the bench press, I notice some people in the corner giving me the side eye. I try to ignore them and turn up my music, but I can still see them just staring at me unhappily. I finish a set when one of the girls in the group approaches me and asks me to put on a shirt. She states that it's unsanitary. I say that I wipe down all the equipment before and after use. She says it doesn't matter, and that I needed to be more polite to other gym members. At this point, I already knew she was most likely talking about not wanting to see my rolls. I get it. No one wants to see the fat person jiggle. I sit up and tell her that I'm wearing almost the exact same thing as her friend in the corner. Her friend was also in a bra and shorts, and to tell me why she actually wanted me to put on a shirt. She got frustrated and said, "Forget it," before storming off. I got back to my workout and just finished it. I'm typing this in my car as I wonder if I could have handled it better, or just complied and put my shirt on. I'll be honest, I have scars from picking at my skin, stretch marks, and a very jiggly body. I know my body isn't the most flattering, but I don't believe that gives you the right to demand a person to cover up. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Some people pointed out that I never specified if it was a sports bra and not a regular bra. 'Twas a sports bra. Well, it should be pretty obvious, but no, OP did not do anything wrong here. These people were singling her out just because I guess they didn't approve of her body. Like OP said, she wasn't the only person dressed like that, and there's nothing wrong with it in a gym. Totally normal. That's just straight up bullying if you ask me. I'm glad OP didn't listen to them, and I hope she doesn't in the future. Most expensive tip ever. Nearly 15 years ago, I went to work for a company. The intent was for me to complete a project in quality, and then move over into program management, but someone quit and I was asked to fill in as customer quality engineer. This meant that every month I traveled to customer sites, did the first pass analysis of our defective products, and got yelled at. A lot. It sucked. Also worth mentioning, our branch of the company was too small to use the corporate travel, so for every trip I was scouring the discount travel sites to find the cheapest flight, hotel, and car. I was ridiculously vigorous in seeking best prices. If the crappiest crapbox car was $32 a day and the not-so-crappy car was $34 a day, I picked the $32 a day car to save the company $2 a day. One fine trip several months in was spectacularly awful. Not only did I have a truly terrible car, the hotel was all new depths of yuck. My shoes stuck to the carpet in my room, and the security flipper thing on the door was plastic. Also, it was in the worst part of town and I worried about my safety, to the point that I ended up pulling the little couch over to block the door and sleeping on it. Adding to the misery, I was sick. I had some creeping crud that plugged my sinuses and made me long for death. Normally, I'd have canceled the trip, but the customer was in an uproar about our continued repeating defects and required someone to be there. I made this trek every month, and once during every trip I would eat at the local Outback Steakhouse. It was a known quantity, the people who worked there were great, and it helped me to have that connection. On this particular trip, I made my way to the Outback for dinner, and I was clearly sick and miserable, and the workers took care of me. They sat me next to the fireplace, brought me tea, and had the kitchen make me chicken noodle soup, even though it wasn't on the menu. I nearly cried, I was so grateful. My bill for dinner was less than $10, so I charged $20. Yes, more than a 100% tip, but their kindness kept me going. I got home, did my expense report, and turned it in. My director called me into his office and screamed at me about how the corporate policy was 10% tip, and it should never exceed 15%, and what was wrong with me for paying them so much. Remember, total bill including excessive tip was $20. It broke me. Well, it shattered my loyalty to the company's bottom line. So I made them give me the corporate travel policy, where the tip policy was outlined, and from that moment on, I followed the corporate travel policy exactly. No more crapbox $32 a day cars. I'm in mid-size or better. No more flying out at 4 a.m. in the center seat. The flights fit my schedule and I sat where I wanted. No more scary hotels in the worst part of town. Now I'm staying at the nicest executive hotel allowed by the policy. The cost of my trips were pretty regularly double or triple what they had been, adding up to thousands of dollars a year. But I never disobeyed their allowable tip policy again. The true irony, their corporate tip policy actually had verbiage that said, exceptional service could be recognized with an additional gratuity, but basically don't make a habit of it. Also, the allowable per diem was $50 a day, and the receipt was only required if over that amount. So the tip that started the whole thing was within per diem, allowable for exceptional service, and the receipt for it had not been necessary. Repeatedly block in my car in private parking? Good luck finding and getting your car out. I live in an apartment building which has end-to-end parking for 2 spaces per apartment, and access to the parking levels 1 through 5 are done via a locked automatic roller door, which people can only get through if they have a remote for it, or sneak through behind someone else. I only have a single car, and sometimes I let my friends park in the space in front of my car if they give me notice, so I generally park at the back of the double space. Plus, it's easier for my neighbors who have 2 cars. And OP also provided a visual here to show what he means in terms of end-to-end parking. Earlier this year, a random car began parking in front of mine on Friday afternoons, meaning I couldn't go out with my car on Friday nights. Annoying, but not the biggest issue when you live super close to the city. This continued nearly every week for about 5 weeks when I didn't park my car at the front of the bay, which I began doing. But times I planned to leave the space free for friends coming over or whatever, the car appeared again. I made repeated attempts to stop this behavior by leaving notes, which escalated into leaving printouts of a photo of the car with the license plate clearly visible, and an explanation that if it happened again I'd press charges, and or have the vehicle towed. Well, it happened again, and this time it was still there Saturday afternoon when I had been planning on going away with a group of my mates. My guess is someone went out on Friday, got drunk, and decided to pick up the car later, not concerning themselves with the inconvenience it caused anyone else. It clearly hadn't moved, as my aggressive note telling them to F off was still sitting there, limply under the wiper blades. I figured enough was enough. It was time to have the vehicle towed. So I called building management and eventually called a towing company, who refused to help because the space was on the 3rd floor, and they can't get any trucks up to that level because of the height and space restrictions. Ordinarily, most people would be pretty much screwed at this point, and I will admit I briefly considered sitting on the hood of the car until the jackass came to pick it up, while sending my mates on their way without me. But they would have had to work out a new arrangement for transport, as one car wouldn't have cut it. Fortunately for me, however, my parents only live 30 minutes away, and have a garage where I work on one of my cars that's getting at the tail end of a minor restoration. One of the things I use pretty often is a set of vehicle positioning jacks to jam my project car right up against the wall of the garage to minimize the space it takes up. For anyone that doesn't know, vehicle positioning jacks are basically devices that slot under each wheel, then lift the car up on hydraulics so you can freewheel it in any direction. Whilst I hadn't originally gone to retrieve them, when I had to take my project car off them, a bright idea came to my head. None of my mates minded spending an extra hour to screw someone over that had interfered with us. So we grabbed the jacks and went back, propped the car up, and wheeled it out. 6 guys can easily move around a small hatchback, so we pushed across the level slowly and carefully to an area where there isn't parking, but is a load-supporting pillar with space enough for a car behind it, in a little section of the garage where it isn't lit and is completely out of the way. Typically, there's a guy on my level that parks a motorbike there, but he isn't meant to, and I doubted he minded. We dumped it between the pillar and the wall, with the nose pointing towards the wall. I took back my angry note, the jacks, and we left to enjoy our weekend. When he came back Monday afternoon after the long weekend, the car was still there, which was no real surprise, considering there was only about a foot of space for movement between the pillar and car, and another foot or so between the car and the wall. From the fact the front wheels had changed, we're guessing they did try to get it out, unsuccessfully. It eventually went later in the week, though I'm not exactly sure how they managed it. I never saw that car again. OP even made an animation to help explain what he means by all this. For the record, I'm pretty sure we spun it around half a dozen times while moving it, because none of my mates had ever seen the ease of which vehicle positioning jacks move cars around. I probably could have done it myself since I know how they tend to move, but 2 novices could easily have done it extremely easily. Plus, there's something weirdly amusing about dancing a car around, as it slides in directions it was never meant to, and that you only see in car crash dashcam videos from Russia. I'm an Australian for anyone who missed my username. Police also will not help unless the vehicle has been there long enough to be considered abandoned. However, cite that I am within my right to have the vehicle moved or towed, which, as I've pointed out, won't happen because of the difficulty unless I pay a ridiculous removal fee, which is greater than the impound charge. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it, and even more so if you subscribe as well. So I'm out of here, have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time.